Hello everyone and welcome to your Tuesday Thoughts Tarot. Here I am on Tuesday the 11th of November 2025. We have passed the point of the 2-minute silence, so I held that today. Certainly it is a time to think about sacrifices that many have made for the lifestyle that we live today, and to be aware of the current sacrifices that are ongoing and how we should have evolved beyond war by now, but there are certain instruments, is the word that I'm getting, at play that instigate this type of thing for other reasons. We think it might be one reason, but there usually is a deeper underlying reason, or many reasons. So let's give thanks for where we are, and let's wish that things get better on the planet, and that we wake up and see how much talent and life and possibility we're wasting, and where that's coming from, what that influence is, and how that is being seeded in the next generation and the next generation, how it's been promoted, how it's been created, first of all in family networks and then throughout societal groups and then at large, and how the best thing you can do is actually go inside and find out who you are and what makes you tick, and what are your beliefs, what are your ethics, what are your what's the path that you want to lead, and then lead by example. So just want to say that because we are the 11th of November today. I'm using some aromatherapy today, and it's quite heady. So I, as an aromatherapist, kind of, what's the word? What is the word when something is ironically, but it's kind of not the word I'm looking for. But I find a lot of the oils on my skin, unless they're really dilute, like almost a homeopathic remedy, my skin is incredibly sensitive, and it can cause irritation. So aromatherapy is about using the aroma as a therapeutic agent, and so subtle aromatherapy is where you smell the aroma, and that has deep psychological and spiritual and mind influencing power. And when you smell it, it goes up into your don't know where my voice is going, goes up into your olfactory system. So the molecules go straight in through your nasal passage, straight into the brain, into this olfactory bulb, which then is very much a connector of emotions. And people might smell a smell and it brings them straight back to something, but it has this effect directly on the brain when you smell it. So today I've got ylang-ylang and geranium, and they're two very feminine oils, very intense, very aphrodisiac, very much relaxing and sensual and feminine and nurturing in that way. And it's quite a heady mix, I have to say. So I thought I'd just get out my subtle aromatherapy book, because as you probably are aware, I love healing the spirit. I love the subtle nature of these oils. And it's just interesting because both of them are about, where is it now that I was reading? Both of them have kind of a cooling effect on the heat. So if you're feeling too hot inside, that could be good for menopausal, that could be good for pre-periods. If you're feeling that kind of heat rising, the flush, geranium is it clears that heat and soothes the flow of chi. It's able to relax and get rid of that irritability, calm, strength and security. And it's also interesting because it says particularly where there is nervous exhaustion due to stress and overwork. It's ideal for the workaholic perfectionist. This is geranium in particular. For the person who's forgotten imagination, intuition, sensory experience. So they're so up in their heads and they're so work, that they've lost touch with themselves, lost touch with themselves as a being, as a human being, as a physical being, and the expanse of their imagination, the expanse of, the joy of you, the joy of who you are. We seem to be so overworked and overpressured and overpushed and overstimulated these days that, with the mind, with the digitization, with the phones, with the everything is capturing attention, and you're completely disconnected. I mean, the VR, right, virtual reality, you put on this mask and you're completely in a different world, completely detached from this amazing body that you have. So it's for the person who's forgotten that imagination, forgotten that intuition, because our body is signaling. It is a receiver. It tells us information if we can listen. It's good for the individual whom emotions overwhelm the mind, for those whose rationality and personal drive deny any place of feeling and impression. So that drive overriding all of your feeling, all of your sensory nature. So it helps you reconnect to feeling life, to that healthy thirst for pleasure and enjoyment, because that is part of your life. We're so downtrodden by life now. Everything seems to be just awful at the minute, chaos, standards are dropping everywhere. It's getting so hard just to survive, just to put food on the table, much more so than ever, because the costs of everything are skyrocketing. And so it takes the joy out of living. And so there's something about these oils that they can bring back that nature. They can clear that heat. They can tonify that chi, which is super, super important for your development and working on, example here, the spleen and the pancreas. So you have a greater capacity for that intimate communication where you're able to receive and experience and understand the power in giving as well as receiving and expressing that. And geranium is all about Aphrodite, so the goddess of love. But also geranium is well known for balancing hormones, for helping with hormones, for helping with those mood swings that come with the hormones, for being very much a feminine oil. It's classically used with regards to any feminine issues. So then we'll just go quickly to ylang ylang, which is a classic aphrodisiac. And it's very interesting because it's similar as well. It's that relaxing, that sensual, euphoric essential oil, calming action on the heart, supporting the heart. So that's what we need now as well, because all of this mental activity, all of this push, all of this overwork, all of this almost feels like slave labor is just detaching us from our powers, which is the heart is a huge power and a huge not only organ but energy center that we must connect with now at this time. It helps with like severe nervous tension, the palpitations, the tachycardia, when you're feeling overwhelmed and then nervous and then your heart is racing and then everything is racing. So it's finding a way to calm that, finding a way to help that, to cool that state down, the restlessness, the agitation that comes with that as well, that kind of rises out of that fear, frustration, nervousness. You get this agitation as well. So that's moving us away from the beautiful beings that we are. So aromatherapy is about bringing us closer to our nature in a subtle, particularly with using it olfaction through the nose into the brain. So allowing that natural, gentle method of using aroma. Ylang ylang is very good for patients with seizures, epilepsy, that type of thing. But it's about relaxing, it's about uplifting. And so it's about that stable, calm yin energy. So if we've been doing too much, overworking, like we mentioned with the geranium, work, that we're just this mental state that drags our body to work and does, and then drags our body back, and then we've lost touch with ourselves. So it's allowing us to move into yin, which is a bit more receptive, less doing, a bit more receiving. And it's when you lose the natural ability to express and experience pleasure and joy. And it can be very hard to find moments for that in our busy lifestyles. And it's very hard to find yourself in the mood for pleasure and joy in our busy lifestyles, because we're so disconnected from our bodies, from our physical, from our wants, from our needs. And these oils bring that back to us in a gentle fashion. They bring us back to ourselves. They allow us just to, receive that fragrance. Particularly these two oils, they're very fragrant, very floral, very pungent, very powerful. So we almost have to sit back and take a breath and go, whoa, that's intense. And so it's allowing you to discover that intensity within you, but there's a sweetness and a kind of a peacefulness to it. Soothes, entices, opens, centers, allows us to unify inwardly so we outwardly merge. So that's great as well. So it's about unifying our everything that we are, bringing it all together so we can then go out and meet people and properly connect. We're all connecting up here with data. We're not connecting with our hearts. We're not connecting with our nature. Interesting start to the read, but I just felt like I needed to do some aromatherapy, and obviously it's for me as well. It's to get me out of, that's interesting, because today's the 11th of November, and some of you might know, some of you might not know, but there is a digital detox happening today. So I have not been on Facebook, I have not been on Instagram. I am avoiding all social media. I am recording this, but I won't post it till tomorrow, Wednesday. So if you're watching it on Wednesday, hello. I am recording it today because today is my video day, but I am avoiding the digital, which I can get lost in, because I'll create a post, I'll look at what people are doing, there's some funny memes I'll send to my friends, and you can get lost in that for hours. And today is a global digital detox day. It is a little bit of a protest for those of us who are connected to, let's say, the UK. There is a digital plan to put out a new ID, which there is no need for. So some of us are doing this sort of little protest as well by staying off social media. So no X, no Facebook, no Instagram, no LinkedIn, nothing, no social media today. And just to get back to what we want to do and create space. And do you know what? It's so interesting. This morning, I mean, it's already almost 12 o'clock, still morning, but I've had time. I've not plugged into, that buzz and then that pressure, and I'm not seeing what everyone else is doing, so I'm not comparing myself to everyone else. And I grew up in a time when there was no social media. I grew up in a time when there were no phones. So it's kind of reminding me of that. And I think the oils are they're supporting that, because maybe it is how you connect with the universe, how you connect with your friends, how you connect with the world outside. And by switching it off, you're left with yourself. So you've switched off that distraction, you've switched off that method of communication. Some people are still booking in. I've got a few treatments today, and I had a booking earlier on this morning for later. So I have had to respond to those text messages. They're not on any social media. I've just responded directly to those, because if people need me to work on them, then I will. But other than that, it's just taking you back to you. And that can be fearful for many people. It can be difficult for people to come back to themselves, because they don't know who they are. A lot of people are defined by what they do. A lot of people are defined by their family. A lot of people are defined by their culture, by their country. But in a sense, actually, you need to figure out who you are and what makes you tick and what you're about. So those oils are kind of helping me detox digitally, because they're the focus digitally. When you think about it, it's all following, liking, sharing, uploading, writing, creating graphics, posting, because you want people to know that you're there if they need you. And sometimes people say, oh, do you have any availability? And I'll say, yeah, maybe I've put my availability up, but they haven't seen it, they've missed it somehow. But you want to, make sure that you let people know that you have availability in case they need to see you. But in the sense of pulling back, it's actually, let's look back at me. What do I need to do? And oh my God, I have decluttering to do. I have so much tidying to do. Got a couple there. And there's a lot that I can get on with. And in actual fact, I was going to say this could be a regular thing, but we'll have to see if I can do that. Because almost like immediately you want to reach for your phone and look at it, and I have to say no, and I have to put my phone down. So you do have the habit of going to the phone and then thinking, no, actually not the phone today. So the oils, sorry, that's gone, hold on, there we go. So I just want to get this. So the oils are supporting me. They're kind of, because when you switch off from all that outwardly attention, you come back to you. So you come back to your feeling self. So suddenly, if you're not distracted, feelings kind of creep up and want to be seen and want to be felt and want to be understood. And then you look at, I picked up a book this morning and I thought, oh, I'm being drawn to that book. Let me just open a page. And I did open a page, and I've marked it so I can actually properly go into it later. And I've picked up another book this morning as well, which I will look at later. So it's given me time to look at my books. But I also felt that when I was looking at my books, that short attention span was coming in. Because as well, I have a brain where I still think, oh, I must do this, and this. I have to get a lot of things fitted in. So I can be thinking, I want to read it, but I can't read it right now, so I'll skim through it and then I'll read it properly later. So that's what I've decided to do, just have maybe an afternoon where I dip into some of my books, aside all the tidying and cleaning I need to do. Let's have one more card, please, for the collective. One more card to finish. But I feel the oils are helping me come back to me, helping me feel again, helping me. If you're so outwardly focused and so directed out all the time, you're not aware of you. So it's almost, sorry, I have a very creaky chair. It's almost like you get to sit with yourself and just breathe. And yet, say if you only had like an hour in an evening, an hour to yourself in an evening, either before bed or after dinner or whatever, and just switch everything off and just be with yourself and just breathe. That hour's going to pass anyway. So it just lets you kind of see what your thoughts are, what comes up for you. It's like meditation. When you meditate, thoughts come in. It's like if you try to count, they say from like 1 to 100 and back down again, 1 to 100 and back down again. Most people can't do it because somewhere in there, maybe about 40, maybe about 80, their mind goes off. So then you have to go, oh no, I've started thinking of this other thing. So the idea of meditation is you're able to keep pulling that back to, so eventually you're able to stay centered for longer. That's the practice. And so even just sitting like with an hour with yourself, watch where your thoughts go, watch what you think about, watch what you're working out in your head. It almost gives you a moment just to listen to what's going on, because most of the time you're not. And just to see where your interest goes as well, just to see like, oh, what's coming up for me? Maybe what good ideas are coming up for me, write them down. What does Spirit want me to focus on? What does Spirit want to help me with right now? I've given this kind of big gap in my day. Big gap today. So what does Spirit want me to do with that? Spirit wants to know that I'm a feeling being. That's what I'm getting. That's why we have the the scents of geranium and ylang ylang. The Spirit wants to bring me back to my senses and nurture those and realize that they're positive expressions of who you are. They're not negative, they're not something to be hidden or pushed away. These are positive elements of you. I always used to think that when I was younger as well, God created me this way. So how could I be doing anything against God when God created me this way? I have these gifts. And many people think, well, that goes against God. But God created these. God created me. And then it goes deeper into who you are, what you are. And to like enjoy the body. You can get so much from scent, and this is what I love as well. You can be with someone and do a little consultation, and then you get them to tune into the scent that is right for them, and you get them to be with that and sniff that, and it just has a way of bringing information through and clearing stuff that you've not had to like spend years working on. It kind of clears it, and it takes you to where you need to go and sort of puts the salve on there. So let's carry on. Let's do your tarot. 21 minutes of chat. I'm sorry. You're here for tarot. So we have the Eight of Pentacles. You can see he's busy, working away. This is kind of working from home. So many of you might be working from home, or many of you might be considering working from home. You can see he's, working hard, and he's got the ruler out and the pencil and what is it? It's compass, isn't it? And he's got screwdrivers and everything on his table. So he's working away at his craft at his table, a bit like me here. And it's, someone who does a lot of their work from home. So you might be a creative. You might be someone who has a home office. You might be someone who's generating. So you're making some sort of products, or you're making some sort of elements. I'm doing a make your own product course tomorrow, because obviously as an aromatherapist you have to stay up to date with the training and CPD points, etc. So I have a make your own products course tomorrow. It's exciting. And so it's something about, this is the underlying energy. So it's about time at home, but you're doing work. Time at home, but you're concentrating on what you're building. Time at home, working on this craft. So the hours that you're putting in working on this craft. Pentacles are also money. So there's some financial reward for this. There's some financial, what would you call it? Transaction for this as well. So the money is here. The products are here. You're diligently putting in time and attention on this. It's getting a bit dark out there. I wonder is it going to rain? It's due to rain today several times. But I was hoping that there might be a gap and could get out and do a nice walk in nature. So I'm going to go through the cards now, one by one, then we can look at them all together as well, and I've got a few other decks that we can use. The first card is the Empress. So the Empress is about reward. The Empress is about harvest. The Empress is about nature. It's about natural surrounding. She is a sensual woman. She's often pregnant. So it's saying to you about this fertile period in your life, this possibility of getting pregnant. So if you don't want that to happen, be careful. But it's about that fertile period. It's about that fertility that's coming through. You can see she's got the harvest here. So there's great reward and harvest and bounty around her. A cornucopia of harvest, we'll say. She's got lots of little roses on her outfit here. So again, that's about love, that's about nurturing, that's about sensuality. She's often quite an open book when she sits on this. Well, she's sitting here. It looks like she's sitting on sacks of it could be wheat, could be corn, could be anything, but it's reminding me of a meditation I had once where I kind of moved into a past life of the Queen of Sheba, and I have this noted in one of my books. I was doing my mediumship course, and we used to do a 10-minute meditation, a little bit of music, not always, but sometimes, 10 minutes, and I would go off and have this experience and come back. And part of that experience with the Queen of Sheba, because I was going, oh my God, I don't know if I should say this, but it was like Queen of Sheba. And but I saw on the boat when I was going down the river to the other palace, there were sacks all over this boat. So it was like bringing stuff to this palace as gift, as it wasn't trade, it was more, I'm bringing these gifts to symbolize my wealth, to symbolize everything that I'm about to offer these gifts to you. You know, like someone would come to a royal palace and they would gift them something, you know, just to say this is from us. So that this was me on this boat, and there was these sacks. That's so funny because I've never noticed that before. Sacks that she's sitting on. And these sacks, I was asking Spirit, I said, what's in these? Because I could just see the sacks. I didn't know what was in them. I was going, what's in these? Show me what's in these. And I was getting pistachios and millet. So millet is an ancient grain, and it is a grain that was around at the time of the Queen of Sheba. And pistachio apparently is, at that time, the peasants weren't allowed to have pistachio nuts. It was only grown for royalty. Royalty were the only people who were allowed to eat and farm and grow pistachios. So that's what I was seeing in these sacks. So again, it's bringing, I mean, she's got a crown on her head. So again, this is very Queen of Sheba. This is very feminine. This is very woman in power, but also in her sensual power, because she went off to King Solomon and had an affair, etc. So, but she didn't stay. He wanted her to stay, and she didn't stay. She left. She wouldn't convert. She left. This is interesting. Something maybe Queen of Sheba, something about the Queen rising within you, the Empress rising within you. We might do some goddess cards as well, see what comes up. It's fertile, you know, we've got the water in the background here, so it's fertile as well. That could be the river that the Queen of Sheba went down. But this is a powerful, sensual, fertile period in your life. And that's saying that about you as well. And that's what the oils are saying. Very feminine, very yin, but not... These are powerful, pungent smells, especially the ylang ylang. It kind of goes deep, 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 all these deep levels. And that's it. They used essential oils back then, didn't they, for their perfumes. So perfume as well. Interesting. The Fool. So with the Fool, which is new beginning. So you're in this fertile period, and this is a new beginning for you. This is a new start. You're about to step out on this new path. This is positive. This is, everybody, when this card comes up, everyone's so happy because it's like, oh, thank God, a new beginning. But it's like this freedom. He's not carrying much baggage. He's got a little satchel with a few little bits in it, a few little essentials. But he's not carrying baggage. He's left all the baggage. He's left all the hardship. He's left everything that weighed him down. And he's moving forward with this quick step, this light step, this positivity. His head is high. He is positive. He's thinking about all the wonderful things that can happen. We have a little dog, which is like a companion here. So you may not be on your own. You might have a pet. But this dog is also warning him, be careful. There's an edge here. When you go off on this new adventure and you think of all the amazing things that can happen, and you're so full of this fertile energy and this new life that has just arrived for you, there is a need to just pay attention to what's going on around you, because there is a cliff edge and you may fall off the cliff. Now, in one of the other decks, it shows us that there's water down here. So even if you fall off, you'll land in the water, you'll float, it's fine. But it is just announcing that just be careful to have your head too much in the clouds, and just pay attention to what's going on around you. Be full of that joy. The sun is vibrant there, that sun energy, that vibrant, positive, moving forward energy. That butterfly is about transformation. So we're using this fertile period to transform our lives and to start again, to begin again, to move into this new life. It could also be fertility, pregnancy, new beginning, new life, just to let you know. So mind your step. Be careful how the ground lies. This could be even physically. You could be walking around and there could be some uneven ground. So just be aware of that. Just, always pay attention. Having your head in the clouds in the start is fine, because that's where your imagination goes. And we said let's tune into our joyful self. Let's tune into the pleasure of life. This is all about the pleasure of life. This new step forward in the pleasure of life. And we have 6 of Cups. So the 6 of Cups is, there's a little wishing well here. So it's about making a wish. It's about your wishes coming true. It's about what have you wished for. It can be soulmate relationship. It can be the relationship that you had maybe at school. It can be that sort of first love type energy. And it is love. There's 6 cups here, and there's an innocence to this love. It's like young love. There's an innocence. There's I feel like I think I've got a hair stuck. There's an innocence to this love. There's someone who is willing to be that soulmate, be that first love, be that school crush energy. But it is about love. There's 6 cups here. It is about love. It's also about nostalgia. So thinking back to that love and how it was innocent, how it was playful, how it was fun. Maybe that's the new beginning. Maybe you're going to get something that reminds you of that. Maybe it's, I've cut out the digital today. I'm tuning into my books, my oils, my cards, myself. And so it's almost that nostalgia of a time before we had phones, right? A time when we did connect better with people, when we had to communicate better. We didn't have the phones for quick messaging. We had to face people and communicate. Or even sometimes, you would meet someone and then, on a Saturday night, and then you might not see them till Monday down the street, and then you might ignore each other. It often happens. So it still happens, I'm sure. So we had to either communicate or not communicate, and even that's a communication. But it's almost like before phones, there was this nostalgic era of innocent love and romance, and he's offering her these flowers. He's wanting to gift her flowers. There's this beautiful, it's like you're coming into your feminine power and you're going on this new adventure, and it is kind of what you wish for. It's the romance you want. It's the romance you've wished for. It's coming. And then we have the 7 of Cups, so 6 to 7. So 7 is about choices, and there's good choices and bad choices. So it's about being mindful. He's sitting here on this bench, not doing too much. So don't sit back on your choices. Go and make your choices, but also be wary of what you're making. There's a little bit of water here because cups are all about emotions, and they're the water sign. So it's a self-reflection, which is what's happening today as well. Tuning into self. All of these things are going to pop up in my mind today, and they're not connected to any digital stuff. They're just within me. They're just stuff my mind, my brain wants to. Like when you go to sleep and your brain clears stuff and deals with stuff that happened in the day, etc. It's almost like if you give yourself a moment, you can do that in your waking space. You don't have to be sleeping. And it can be all these things that you want in life. It can be this choice. Who do you go for? Do you go for someone who makes you feel nostalgic, who brings that young energy to you? So this self-reflection, this period of stopping and self-reflecting, so you can make the right choices. There are also cups which are in the clouds. So there's an element of, don't get lost in illusion. Don't think about your castle in the sky. Bring it back down. water signs can be great daydreamers. And so there's the need to make it real. So we have all of these elements up in the mind. So we've got to make that real. We can't just sit and daydream constantly, because that's time kind of wasted. But it's giving us this moment. Today is giving us this digital detox, which is allowing us to think about, all of these different things, these 7 elements in our life, and how we want that and what we don't want. And then we have temperance. Temperance is kind of dipping your toe into something, not quite giving it full commitment. You can see there dipping in. But it's also that unconscious, dipping into that unconscious. It's moving into understanding the greater energy, the greater consciousness, and that we are simply a part of that oneness. This is also the card of working with the angels. This is the card of angelic Reiki, of healing. This is the card of psychic seeing, that opening that third eye. This is a card of travel. This is a card of mixing of cultures. The sun is in the background, and we have the rainbow. And that's classic as well, isn't it? On these days where it's grey and it's rainy, sometimes the sun comes out and lights up particles and creates this amazing rainbow. And the rainbow is interesting because it's all colours, and all the colours make white light. So I use white light as part of my light work, as part of my healing. And it kind of makes us understand all of the elements of life, all of the colours of life come together to make consciousness, which is light, which is, this white light. So there's a temperance is always moderation as well. So there's a need to just moderate in your life, just what's happening, just, dip your toe in, maybe don't fully engage just yet with everything. And there's a balance to this. She's pouring from one cup to the other. So there is a balance here. There is a balancing of that masculine and feminine energy as well. Not too much, like we said already, not too much of the doing. Remembering to balance that feminine, remembering to receive. Because the first cards are all about that sensuality, that femininity, that innocence, that young love, being able to receive that. So you have to balance that out. Then we have the Tower. So major change coming. Major change. And if we have a new beginning, this is saying that we are going to have change. This change could be to do with people moving out of a building, people moving into a building, a change in the occupants of a home, for example, or a workplace. It can be pretty stormy, but in order for proper solid foundations in your life to be built, things have to move off, things have to move away, people have to move away. And that building needs to collapse. So everything that you had built, it's not built on firm foundations. It's cracked. There's a massive crack in the wall here. It's cracked, and it has to collapse. So we have to collapse the building, start at the bottom, put in proper foundations and build it properly again. It makes me think of the mica problem in Ireland, particularly Donegal, is a huge problem with buildings collapsing because their cement is literally crumbling, and houses and homes are crumbling that people have bought and spent money on. So perhaps this is something to do with that. There's some major change. You're moving out so you can rebuild. And the fact that we have the lightning here coming in and striking this tower tells us that this is time. Spirit is coming in to help make this change, because it wasn't happening. So Spirit has had to come in and say, okay, we're going to make this change. We're going to make this end. We're going to see people move out. Also, new people can move in, but perhaps we need to build a better home, a better building, some structure with strength, and something we can rely on, so that we can house these people. And that's what the change is. It's this change, going from something that's crumbling to something that we can build that's stronger. And the last card is the Star, because that is our hopes, wishes and dreams. Star is all about hopes, wishes and dreams. Star, often I would say, personally, when I'm reading, it can be a bit about stardom. So this could be you leaving a work situation. This could be you moving out of your home and moving into a new home. This could be because the stars align, because it is time, astrologically, it's time for this. It is time to move, it is time to change. We've got a butterfly here as well. So it is time to have this moment of change, this, again, dipping the toe into the water, that unconsciousness, but also watering the earth. So we have to water the ground. We have to put our roots into the ground of this new beginning. We have to make sure that we're putting the roots deep. We have to water the roots with all of this emotion, but all of this consciousness. So we have to use our connection to the higher consciousness to create what we want and root it into the ground, to build stronger, to build something that will last, balancing ourselves, balancing our emotions, making the right choice, thinking, having time to ourselves so we can make the right choice. That's the wish. That's what we're wishing for. That's what we've wished for. And the love energy is coming back to us. That's the new beginning that is starting for us. And this is a very fertile period in your life where things are going to happen and things are going to develop. So I'm just going to go to the goddesses because it's very feminine. It doesn't mean it's not for the guys. It just means there's a lot of that creative. You know, when you think about a woman's body, it's the vessel for new life, right? It holds the baby. It births the new generation. So there is great power in that. And men can take from that too, because they too are part of that cycle, and that they have that creative nature within them. They have femininity within them. More men are kind of waking up and softening a little to that. And just to acknowledge that that is actually part of them. They do have emotions, they do have feelings, and they can be overwhelmed with their emotions. The Seven of Cups can be lots of emotions about different elements in their life. And men compartmentalize things, so they put things in boxes so it's easier to deal with. So these are kind of all the different boxes maybe that the guy is having to think about, and he has certain emotion about each one of them, of course, and he's self-reflecting about them. He is trying to remain measured. He is calling on the angels for support, and he should. There is major change here, major change, but with hopes, wishes and dreams at the end, the Star card, that's such a positive card. So we say that that is a good result out of this. Maintain dignity, maintain innocence. Okay, I'm going to take that. Cordelia, go outside. You have been indoors too long. Go outside and get some fresh air. That's nice. And I don't know if you can see, but there's little fairies there at the top of the card. And she's got a little moon on her forehead. You have been inside too long. Go outside and get some fresh air. Okay, if it clears up, I will. Let's just see what she says. I think I might pick another one as well. Cordelia. Being cooped up is not the natural way for inhabitants of this exciting planet to live. That's interesting as well, because it's making me think of the tower. Get out of the house. So this is the tower, is the house, is the home. But there's a need to leave it. There's a need to get out. There's a need to meet people. And you won't do it from inside the house. So it's a natural way for... Being cooped up is not the natural way for inhabitants of this exciting planet to live. Believe me, there's plenty to see and experience when you exit your four walls and roof. A daily venture outside will not only revive your spirit and soul, it will give you hope and faith in this planet's very existence and future. You'll see all of the goodness that's in store within nature. The flowers ready to unfurl, the leaves that are sprouting, the birds that hop about, and even the wind that affectionately caresses you. Don't let another day go by without stepping outdoors into this most entertaining and exciting of environments. By the way, I love this shirt. This is one of my old check shirts, and it always comes out Christmas time. And I just love the bottle green, the forest green, and then the contrast with the white. I don't know, what do you think? I think it's lovely, although I have to say it's getting a little bit tighter these days. Your manifestation will appear in May when the weather is warmer. So work on all of this, create this, whatever you're working from home doing, whatever you're building, whatever this study is, this craft is, this time at home, the hours you're spending on something, it will manifest in May. Spend time in nature. Change to a job that allows for more connection with nature. And that's maybe a hint at what I'm doing today, disconnecting from the technical, moving back into the body, back into your natural sense, because we can become so robotic. You know, most of our jobs are at computers now. So there's that roboticness to it, and that's turning us into robotic people. So it's, you know, maybe we need to change our job to have something more connected with nature. Practice environmentalism, recognize the need for balance in your life. That's what we had with the temperance, bringing that balance, pouring from one cup to the other, balancing the masculine and feminine. For more rest and play. So that's it, that's that sensual nature. That's it, getting back to you, getting back to your joy. We need more time to switch off from the phone. Today is interesting. This is super interesting. Oh, it's gone. Let me go get it. 1 second. Okay. This is great, and it's good for me as well. It is Sarasvati, the arts. And this is what happens when you unplug from the digital world. And I know a lot of artists, and I'm an artist too, and we are often plugged in as well because we're promoting our work, we're showing our work, we're uploading our work to something, we're, you know, have our work on websites, etc. So we are plugged in quite a bit, but there's a need to return to making, to doing. Oh my God. To making, to doing, to creating. And it says, express yourself through creative activities. This is someone creating at home. This is the underlying thing. So we need to express ourselves through creative activities. We've got a swan, what looks like a swan or a goose. Is it a goose? It looks more like a goose, doesn't it? We have her dipping her toe into the lily here. So that sense of when you're creative, like the lotus flower is here. It's the connection to spirit. And there's a sense of when we're creative, we're connecting to that consciousness, again, turning back into that consciousness. We've got the river of emotion here, so much emotion, and we've got, it could be the sun or the moon in the background, and we've got her playing this instrument. So music, I was going to play music today during the card read, but I didn't eventually. The hi-fi's there, I didn't eventually get it done. Is it still called a hi-fi? I don't even know. Mini hi-fi. Okay. You're a limitless being. If it seems that you have time, money, or other restrictions, it's simply because your mind is focused upon the material world. You can unlimit yourself by lifting the cloak of the material world from your focus. Music is essential for the expression of non-material ideals and energies. And I'm thinking sound baths, I'm thinking sound therapy. Sound is brilliant and it's healing. Music colors our surroundings with emanations from the highest vibrational fields. It allows us to escape all limitations in our thinking and very existence. Surround yourself in music and allow it to stimulate your own creative thinking and to spark new ideas. Flow with the music and give yourself permission to investigate and experiment with putting your creative ideas into action. Enjoy being limitless. So sometimes when you're in a funk or you're not sure of your mood or if you put on some music, it could be like nostalgic. It could be like we're going back to that, first love, those first dances that you went to, discos that you went to, the first people you met. If you listen to a song from back in the day, that brings you right back, just like the scent, just like the smell. So music does that as well. So maybe it's time to, just listen to something that will bring you back to that more innocent time. That's the cups, 6 of Cups is that innocence. So that innocent time, that time before digital, we seem to be moving back into that in some way. And that's a good thing. Yes, we've evolved a great deal. Yes, we don't want to live with certain belief systems that many had back then. We don't want to live with certain restrictions that many had back then. We fought for a certain amount of our freedoms. But we're also losing a lot right now. And we need to kind of go back and buoy up our soul and our spirit. And music can do that. And I'm thinking as well, when I was reading this, about if you go to like a yoga class or something like that, or you can just do it at home. You can do like a few yoga stretches and then lie down for your last meditation, and maybe have a blanket over you. And often they do that in yoga. They put a blanket over you as you lie down for the last meditation. And we did that in Qigong as well. We would work really hard, and then the last meditation we'd relax all of our body and have some music. And some people would fall asleep, and sometimes you just float off and have this little dreamlike journey. But you can use music that way. You can use, just Reiki music, healing music, soft music, and just lie down and let the music take you. Like I said, when we did our mediumship, we would play music for 10 minutes, and then my teacher would say what happened and be interested in where I went and what I brought forward, etc. And to the point that I was actually trying to tune in a lot of the time and see if she could, because she thought my journeys were so fantastical and amazing and informative that she wanted to actually be part of that. So she was always trying to tune into my journey. But like the journey with Queen of Sheba as one example, music takes you somewhere and can show you. It's like a meditation. Sometimes we're not willing to see, we're not willing to have that adventure. We can't have that adventure because we're faced with the ordinary world, the realities of the world. But it's only in those moments that you stop. And that thing about listening to an album back in the day, I used to put it on and listen to it 1 to 10 through all of the songs and listen to it, because we didn't have the other distractions. So the music moved us. So any type of music, and try something different. Try a different form of music. So if you're into like R&B and whatever, fine, but maybe just try something really relaxing and really deep, because it brings up emotions and it allows you to free these emotions, and in a sense that allows you to heal. So music can really open the space for healing. And you might not know why you're crying, you might not know, or you might know, but just the release that it can bring you, that moment of release, the moment of memory. So it says, play music, dance, draw, paint, write, or do something creative. Study or change to a career that gives you creative freedom. Take a creative class. Invest in an artistic hobby. Keep a journal of your creative ideas. It's good to write things down. Join a writing club or other creative support systems. So tune into that creative aspect. I'm going to go and find that page on the Queen of Sheba now, just to prove to you. 1 second. Got it. So when I do a lot of my different courses and study, I always get like a little journal. I thought this was quite good. Let's go on an adventure. And that was when I started a mediumship. This is January 2017. And in here somewhere I did a lot of recording, a lot of information of all the different things that happened, and I've done drawings in pages as well, different drawings of what I was getting, what I was seeing, as like I said. And one of these is the Queen of Sheba drawing. Let me find it. And I would make notes of what I was getting in the session, and then I would always go home and research it and see what information I could find out. But this is my Queen of Sheba drawing. And I was being carried. There were 4 men, and I was on this kind of, I don't know what you call them, but there is a name for it. But because she was royal, and she had dark skin, so I was aware I had dark skin, and I was being carried down to the river. And there was, it was very warm. It was, I could feel the heat and the sandiness of it. And there was some hedgerows that we were moving through. This is where I first kind of really connected with Lord Anubis, so he was there. This was the boat that I was on, and these were the little sacks on the boat with the stuff in it. And then this was what I asked. This was the my version of the pier, I guess. So we've got some people doing trade. There was lots of trade, and there was lots of sacks of different things there. And then when I asked what was inside, I was told it was millet. So that's my version of millet, and pistachios. That's my version of pistachios. And when I went to the palace, I was given some food and drink and stuff. And I remember having this sort of bowl of what looked like beetroot. And so that's my little bowl of like beetroot soup or beetroot and beets. So I was researching were beets around at the time of Queen of Sheba, and in fact, yes, they were. So let's see, that was that was around May 2017, or was it April? April 2017. Let me see. The actual meditation was on 20th of March 2017. Notes from class. Yeah. It was all about the palace, gladiators, beetroot and some sort of juice in a bowl, bathing, rings on fingers, very colourful robes, sense of a queen dying. I had a son. So it was all that kind of thing. They walked me down to the port, lots of boats, barges, merchants trading in goods and sacks. I was brought onto one boat very aware I was more rich and powerful than the peasants. The boat didn't go upstream, it gently flowed with the current downstream. Could have been Egypt, sandy colours, whitish stone, heat. And then I went into searching what different things were about, and just on the pistachio it said, native to the Middle East, oldest flowering nut tree. Humans enjoyed them as early as 7000 BC, flourishing in the hot climates spread from the Middle East to the Mediterranean. Legend has it that the Queen of Sheba decreed pistachios are exclusively royal food, going so far as to forbid commoners from growing them for personal use. And then it's a long name here. Nebuchadnezzar, the ancient king of Babylon, had pistachio trees planted in his fabled hanging gardens. And in the 1st century AD, the emperor Vitellius debuted the prized nut in his debuted. And the prized nut in his capital city of Rome was said to be one of the foods brought to earth by Adam. Millet as well, I've got information in here. So there's just lots and lots that I find out a lot about that. But why was I talking about Queen of Sheba? Queen energy, feminine energy, powerful feminine energy, creative energy, new beginning, change. You've got choices, you've got hopes, wishes and dreams, moving away from that technocracy, back into yourself, back into that power that you hold right now. You hold all of the ancients within you. You hold that within your DNA. You hold that within your chemical makeup. So don't think you're less than. You're incredibly powerful and incredibly wonderful. Tune into your goddess energy. Get outside and connect with nature. Get creative. Work at home on something. Get creative. This is a new start. There's a new flourishing happening here. and I wish you well with it. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed. Take care. Bye bye.